Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our student outreach webinar here. I think your screen just went blank, Mary, but there we go. This is the intro to AWWA's Water Equation Scholarships. So I am Pooja Chari. I am on the AWWA YP committee and also the Student Outreach Subcommittee Chair. We have year-long, every academic year, we try to do these webinars, and today's topic is going to be water equation scholarships. We also, as part of the AWWA YP committee, we also have some other events that we do. We have the YP Summit, which is coming up in March of 23. So we're all gearing up and our planning for that has started. We have journal articles. We also have a few events, young professional events, specifically at ACE, which next year is in Toronto. So if you have the opportunity, I know for students especially, you get discounted rates, and it's quite cheap to be attending and registering for ACE. So I would highly recommend you to look into this. So with that, I am going to ask Michelle and David Henderson to talk about the AWWA scholarship. Both of them work with Water Equation. I want to thank them for their time to talk about this webinar and giving all the scholarship information. I also want to thank Nicole and Kara for, I know I'm jumping the gun here, but thank you for your time and agreeing to be part of this. So with that, Michelle, I will hand it off to you.
Thanks, Pooja. It's great to be here with all of you today. I'm not sure how many of you have actually heard of AWWA's philanthropy water equation, so I'm going to take a couple of minutes to make a shameless plug for it. Water equation, or what we call WE, was created 6 years ago to address the lack of workforce in the water community. You know, we are the best kept secret, aren't we? When you say you're going to work in water, people probably look at you like, what? How does that work? Well, we funds academic scholarships, which is the reason you've joined today, as well as scholarships for water and wastewater operators, student and young professional leadership programs, the K through 12 education programs, as well as safe water projects in the USA by funding Community Engineering Corps. You know, it's a philanthropy, so we need funding to be able to offer all of these great programs. So here comes the pitch. Raising funds in your student chapter or your local section, making a donation, sharing our information on social media really helps our cause. You know, we have Giving Tuesday coming up on November 29th. We're going to be asking for donations. We have about $10,000 in matching funds. So every donation you make gets doubled. So even a $5, $10 donation makes a big difference. You know, we're going to have a free event at WQTC because we just want to meet all of you who are attending, and that will be on Sunday evening when you first get in. Look for more information on that. Mary and I will be attending WQTC. We'll have a table there, so we hope to see all of you there. And then one really great way to support Water Equation in a really fun way is to create a team for our annual virtual walk, We Walk. Your team raises funds while walking, and you receive prizes for weekly milestones. Registration is March 1st, with the event planned for April 1st through May 28th. Last year, we raised $37,000 for operator scholarships and YP student leadership programs. This year, we're hoping to raise $40,000. So I hope that you will keep an eye out for the advertising on We Walk and participate in that. All right, so I don't need my full 30 minutes, that's for sure. I'm going to turn this over to David Henderson. He is really our scholarship guru, has helped to create the program on IT and the IT end. And he's going to walk you through how do you create an application? What happens if you have to stop in the middle and then gather your materials and then start again? So he's going to be the one who's going to lead you through this. And as Mary mentioned, this is being recorded and we'll have it on our website so you can refer to it. David?
Sweet. Hello, everyone. Like Michelle said, my name is David. I worked with Michelle for a couple years in water equation, recently switched roles within AWWA, but I'm still helping out as I can because this is a great program. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for everyone. There we go. So right now, I am just on the awwa.org website. We're currently updating some of our systems, so you will see some of these banners. None of this affects your ability to apply for scholarships, and you may see this disappear months down the road.
From
David? Here.
Sorry, there we go.
Yep.
It was your screen was blank on for a second there. Got it.
Oh. So here on the awwa.org website, you can get to our scholarship pages in a couple of ways. We have them listed in two areas. The first one is if you go to membership and volunteering and down to students and young professionals, you will see this come up. And as you scroll down, you can click the scholarships tab. And then you will see some basic information and then each of the scholarships that we offer. If you click any of these scholarships, you will see a brief description of that scholarship, as well as the requirements for it. For instance, for this one with American Water, it specifies that it's to a graduate level student. If you instead, from this page, the other route to go there is to also go to the philanthropy section, and that will open up the water equation website. And from there, you can see that we have scholarship applications that are now open. When you click that, this actually takes you to the page where you can truly apply for the scholarship, and you will see that there are descriptions again for what the requirements are. So in this case, I will make a pseudo application for the American Water Scholarship. So I will click nominate. Nominate is, in this case, the same as applying. Our system just requires that it be called nominate. In this point, you will log into your account if you already have an account with AWWA. If you have used any resources from AWWA, made any sort of donations, or applied for any of our scholarships in the past, you likely already have an account with us. Your username is just going to be your email address. If you put your email address and password in and it says the password is incorrect, that does mean that you have an account. And you should just use your forgot my password link. It's really fast to reset that. If you don't have an account, you'll go over here to click I agree and create an account. So I will log in here to let me get to this next page. Now we have started the nomination process. You will select self-nomination because you are applying for yourself. You are not applying on behalf of somebody else. When you create your AWWA account, you will fill out some of this contact information, address, potentially employer information. You'll need an email for it, and then as well as a phone. So all of this will already be auto-populated into there. You will go to next. And now we have the application questions. And so in this case, because this scholarship is also for a graduate level student, we have a question making sure to specify that you are one. You will need to put in the name of a university. In this case, I'm just going to write test for a lot of these. Well, and then you also have some of these essay questions, what leadership roles, or a brief summary of a water project that you have participated in. These responses to these short answer questions are really used as a determining factor for who is selected as finalists and ultimately as the winner of the scholarship. And these applications are open until believe it's December 21st. So take your time with these, come back to them later, really try to make them as clean and good as possible. Some of these longer ones specify that they need to be 500 words or more. So we're really looking for a more detailed response on some of these. And then down here, we are looking for references. And so these references are going to be used to collect letters of recommendation later down the road in the application process after some initial reviews are done to determine the eligibility of applications. So when you fill out these references, think of who you would want to be writing your recommendation letter for these scholarships in a few months' time from now. We will be contacting them by email for that letter of recommendation, and they will need to send that letter of recommendation to us directly. We don't want that letter to go to applicants and then for applicants to provide that letter. And then we will use both of those references if we do need to get to that point. And then you will go and click next. And then just like the previous page as well, anything that has that little red asterisk next to it makes it a required field that in order for you to actually submit this application, you will need to make sure that all of those fields are filled out. So in this case, I have so many files, but you will find the file that you want, in this case for a resume, and then also a transcript. In this case, we'll just put something in there. These other ones are not required. We have the letter of recommendation fields here so that they can be attached to your application at a later date if we need them. Once you click next here, you'll get a preview of everything that you have filled out, your responses to every short answer question, essay question, all of the contact information from your references, as well as the files that you have uploaded here. If at any point in the application you are not ready to actually submit all of it in one day, it's a lot of essay questions, you probably should, take a few days to evaluate what you have submitted or are going to submit. You can instead click Save as a Draft. And then that allows that draft to be saved on here, and you can come back and complete it at any time before the actual application closes. You also get the opportunity to apply for another scholarship. We have quite a few of them, so a lot of you are able to apply for more than one if you would like. In this case, I will say no. And then you will see here the applications that you do have. The ones that are in a status of draft are ones that you can still complete, and the ones that are submitted means that they are ready to go, and we are just waiting for the review process to start at the beginning of the new year. You can click View on your submitted applications if you just want to look at what exactly you submitted. This is an application I worked on earlier this morning to actually submit, and then you will also be able to see what files were uploaded. Down the road, if we contact your references and ask them to provide us letters of recommendation and they email that to us, we will attach that letter of recommendation to your application. So if you know that you are waiting on a professor or a supervisor to submit a letter of recommendation and you're wondering whether or not we have gotten it yet, you can go to this page and view your submitted application. And if we've received that letter, we will have uploaded it, and then you will see that file name filled into here, and you will know that it's been submitted. You will not be able to open that file, however, so you won't be able to read that letter of recommendation once it has been uploaded. If instead you are trying to get to a draft application and you are ready to finish it up, then you will just go and click Edit. And then you will be back on the page that you were on when you decided to save it as a draft. So then from here, I could click Previous and get back to the attachment screen if I want to upload something else. or go previous to get back to the nomination information if I'm ready to complete or edit any of these other essay questions. Additionally, if you have applied, so actually I'll go back for a moment. So then let's say you saved this application as a draft, you have done some other things, it's been a week, now you're ready to go and access it again. You won't be able to access that draft application by going back to the scholarship screen and clicking nominate on that scholarship. Instead, to access draft applications from the AWWA website, you'll go and you will click My Account. Because it remembers that I just logged in, it still has me in the system, but otherwise you would just be logging in with your email address and password like we did before. From here, you will then go to My Nominations under this Membership and Participation area on the left column, and then you will see your scholarships. If you applied for scholarships with us in the past, if you click Closed Nominations, then you will instead see some scholarships from a while ago. And so in this case, I have 2 scholarships from 2020. And you can still view those if you happen to just want to see what your responses to some of these essay questions were in the past to get some ideas for starting out. So otherwise, that is the gist of how to apply for a scholarship, save it as a draft, and access it at a later date, as well as check on the status of letters of recommendation if we request them down the road. I would be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any on this process.
Hi, David.
Yeah.
Can you hear? Oh, okay, you can hear me. My name is Sierra Horn. I have a question, I guess, regarding, and you might not know this, it's fine if you don't, but I noticed that some of the scholarships say specifically, like, only, like, they're looking for master's students, and I'm a PhD student. But when I get to the actual application, it'll only verify that you're a graduate student. So I just want to be sure, like, if the scholarship specifically says, like, hey, we don't want master's students, so I should not apply to those, correct?
Yes, initially I would say that the description for the scholarship would be what you should base your qualification status off of. We get those descriptions directly from the sponsors of that scholarship. But if you do notice a discrepancy, like the scholarship description saying master's, but the application saying to confirm that you're a graduate student, I think that was also worth contacting someone at AWWA. I think the contact information is on the scholarship page, just to verify and confirm. But in that case, I just think it was accidentally written as a qualification for graduate student in the application.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you so much, David.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I have a question about the qualifications also. Would these scholarships be for this academic year or the next one? Because I'm applying to grad school right now, but I'm not in grad school yet. Would I still be qualified as an undergrad?
Yeah. So yeah, all of these qualifications are that you need to be meeting those qualifications during the time that you would be awarded those scholarship funds. So since these scholarships would be awarded in the fall of 2023 for next academic year, then if you are a graduate student at that time, then you are qualified to apply. And then since you said that you are currently applying for some graduate school programs, you will see in the application that it will ask for the name of the university that you'll be attending when you're awarded this scholarship. In that field, you can write out that you are applying or undecided, and you can provide a couple options if you have a few universities you're looking at. And then down the road, you can contact us and let us know if you have chosen a specific university.
Thank you so much. That's helpful.
This is Michelle. I'd like to include about the transcript that's required. It does not have to be an official transcript. You can do a screenshot off your portal to upload that to your application. So don't feel like you have to pay the 25 or 50 bucks or whatever it is to be a transcript. If you just give us a copy of it, that's perfect.
Yeah, and to add to that, and it's not a very common occurrence, but sometimes when you do have a transcript or are able to download a transcript from a university website, even if it's the free version, you're not having to pay for it. Sometimes the PDF of that transcript can be password protected. If you upload that transcript to us and we try to open it, it's going to ask us to provide the password to open it, which we will not have. So please just make sure that if you are uploading that unofficial transcript, that it is not a password protected file.
Hi, this is Nuha. I have a question regarding the limit of, like, for example, how many scholarships we can apply for, or how many times we can apply for the same scholarship, and whether there is a common application for multiple scholarships that could be similar.
I'll take this one, David.
Oh, yep, for sure.
Thanks. So you can apply for as many scholarships for which you are qualified. So go ahead and fill out all those applications. You will be selected for just one scholarship. And let's say the scholarship is a 10,000 or a 5,000. We will award to you the 10,000 if that's the one you were selected for. So we always want to go where the money is, right? So you'll receive one scholarship based on your applications. And then the following year, you would not be eligible for that same scholarship. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so if I apply 1 year, didn't get it, I can still apply the second year, right?
Absolutely. As long as you're not applying, let's say you received the American Water Scholarship in 2023, you would not be eligible for it for the next year, but you would be eligible for the AECOM or the other 26 scholarships that you qualify for.
Got it. Thank you so much.
All right, I'm seeing some questions in the chat, so I'm gonna go down towards them. Sorry, I'm gonna ask them.
Real quick, Pooja,
yeah.
can I just, because the other part of their question was about the common application.
Yep, go for it, sorry.
And these applications don't have a common app, but a lot of them share the same questions. For instance, because I am still sharing my screen, I will stop that in a second. But questions like this for what leadership roles have you held with what organizations, or to give a brief summary, these are going to be asked on all of these applications. So what I recommend is, if you're going to use the same response for them, you can either open up a submitted application as a different tab, and then you can just copy and paste your responses for some of these. Or what I recommend further is really typing out your responses to these questions in a Word document. And then you get the benefit of Word checking grammar and spelling for things. And then you can just copy and paste those responses into these, so you're not retyping everything for some of these common questions. And now I'll turn it over to you, Pooja.
Awesome, thank you. So one of the questions in the chat is, do the recommendations or references need to be academic?
Hi, I think that we answered these questions in the chat, Pooja.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. The only one that hasn't been answered in the chat, which is a great one for you, is how do they get involved in leadership role with the YP committee?
Oh, that's a good question. You can just reach out to us. So if you have, well, so I am at the association level YP committee. We also have section levels YP committee. So if you're from a particular section, there may be a very good chance that there's a YP committee in existence there. If you don't know who to contact to get into your YP committee, let me or Mary know, and we should be able to get you in touch with someone from your section.
Sorry to interrupt. My name's Taylor Ray. I'm the one that actually asked the question. Yeah,
okay.
I was looking on the website, but I couldn't find a particular email. I go to University of Maryland, so I don't know if there's if I contact the Chesapeake chapter of the YP or maybe another one, but yeah.
Marilyn, Mary is, I think I have to refer to you, on that. Like, if do we have a student chapter there? I can't remember.
I'm gonna look through my list right now and let you know. It might take me a couple of minutes to pull that up.
Okay, so we'll circle back to that question, Taylory, and if we don't get back to it, just feel free to remind us on the call. Okay. Are there any other questions? And thank you, Michelle, for fielding the chat questions. It would be nice that the recording won't have the chat questions, so if you can answer some of them, or talk about some of those answers, it would be good. I do see a hand up. Sorry, I missed the name. You want to go ahead and ask your question? Or okay.
Yes, hello, hello, thank you for this presentation. My question is about the reference letters. So I'm just wondering if the reference letter will be shared among if we have several application, or referee need to submit the separate reference letter for each application. And the second question is, maybe you also answered this one, or give some information about it, but I missed it. So I'm wondering at which stage of the application you will ask, AWWA will ask the reference letter. Is after that getting shortlisted or at the earliest stage of the application?
Great questions.
Thank you.
So you can use the same reference for all applications. That way your professor or your industry professional answers it once rather than 4 different times, right? And then also we'll be doing a short list, as you mentioned. So once the applications are complete, December 21st is the deadline. They will go to our committee, which is a water equation committee of about 40 AWWA volunteers who will review all the applications, and they will make a short list. And from that short list, we will request the reference letters that from the emails that you've provided. And then from there, we'll review again, and the corporate sponsors actually have the final selection.
Thank you. And one following question. So does the applicant get informed about that they get shortlisted so they can follow up with the referee to make sure that, they submit the reference letter on time?
Yes, you will be informed that you've been shortlisted.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. There's a question here. A master's student from January 23 to December 23, am I still eligible to apply for scholarships? Yes, you are. If the funds are not completely used by May of 2024, then the funds will be returned to AWWA. So if you're only using 1 semester of the funds, then the balance will be returned to AWWA. And we are always looking for advisory committee members. Applicants may not sit on the advisory committee, but if you, after you have graduated and you're not applying anymore, I would encourage you to respond. There's a volunteer form on the website that allows for you to volunteer for the advisory committee.
Hi, Michelle. This is Sierra again. I have a question with regards to, like, I guess, when the money does go to the university, is it applied to tuition, or does it, I guess, go to me as to use for like books and fees and stuff?
So the funds are sent to the university and they go into your student account. And then you can work with your finance department or your scholarship department, however that works at your university, to say, this is how I'd like to have the funds applied.
Got you.
A lot of universities are very liberal with it. I mean, they'll let you purchase your books, or you have any room and board you need to pay, however it works best for you.
Awesome.
But I'll tell you, the reason we send it to the university is so that you won't have any taxing implications. If we were to send it to you, it would be income.
Got it. Okay. I got you. That's nice.
So we're just looking out for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Let me see. Pooja suggested we answer some of these by voice. So I posted a link in the chat, though, for the nomination webpage. So why don't you take a look at that? I'm going to see if I can print this transcript and also upload it onto the website as a PDF so that you can see all the questions that were asked.
Yeah, Michelle, maybe we can do like a Q&A section with the video. That way these questions are part of the video once we upload them.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea. I think you all had some really great questions. And
how about we get Kara and Nicole talk about their experiences, and then we can go back to answering questions.
Okay, thanks, Pooja. So I'd like to introduce you first to Nicole Martindale, the 2022 Hazen and Sawyer Scholarship recipient. Nicole is pursuing her civil engineering master's degree from Iowa State University. And Nicole, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you have any suggestions for students pursuing a scholarship through AWWA's program?
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. So I remember when I applied for the scholarship, I got on it right away because you really want to get on top of reaching out to your letters of recommendation to give them enough time to prepare a really good recommendation letter and give you enough time to follow up with them if they have any questions. I also remember applying for all of them that I was applicable for. So I know that some of those who are attending had questions about that. Once you complete your application initially, it'll save your answers. So then it's easier to go back and apply for all the other scholarships that you may be applicable for. So it's a pretty easy process once you put the time in at the beginning. And with that being said, since you're applying to several different scholarships with most of the same answers, you really want to make sure your answers are solidified and have a lot of great details. And one of my greatest recommendations with writing about yourself is just to write about your passions. That's really what makes you stand out from others who may be applying, and talk about specific experiences of what you have in the water industry or why you're interested. Have any other points of interest that you'd like me to talk about, Michelle?
Yeah, so how has this impacted you this year at school?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm very excited to talk about that. So another great benefit besides receiving the scholarship was having the chance to attend ACE this last summer. It was in San Antonio, Texas. So my scholarship sponsor, Hazen and Sawyer, supported me to attend ACE in San Antonio, and it just opened so many doors. I was already really passionate about the water industry, but after attending the conference, like that set the bar. I just hit the ground running after attending it. I made a lot of networking opportunities and met a lot of professionals from the industry, met other young professionals that are my age. One of them was Kara. She's also on this call. She'll talk a little bit after me. She kind of steered me in the direction of looking into maybe even starting my own student chapter at Iowa State. And I guess I didn't realize that we didn't have one at our college. And right away, I just saw such a benefit in starting our own. So Kara steered me towards talking to Mary. She is also on this call. She's in charge of helping young professionals start their own student chapters at colleges. And I just hit the ground running this summer and started up our own student chapter at Iowa State, and in order to provide other students at Iowa State the opportunity to get connected with the water industry and these great opportunities such as the scholarships.
Thanks, Nicole. Appreciate your being on today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for inviting me. Absolutely.
And next, we have Kara Cunningham, who Nicole referred to. They met at ACE 22. Kara is the 2022 Stantec Scholarship recipient, is currently attending Yale University. So Kara, has this scholarship impacted your networking opportunities in the water community?
Yeah, absolutely. As Nicole said, I also attended ACE for the first time and it was phenomenal. I met so many people, um, from Michelle and Mary in person to Nicole, other young professionals to people in the industry that have kind of helped me guide, um, find what I want to do after school. And so I met people from Hazen and Sawyer, HDR, all of these really big Jacobs, really big companies that was really nice to network with, to just get exposure to. And on top of that, also my sponsor, Suez. And Suez is a little different because generally you think like you can go into a utility or consulting, but theirs is a little different, almost from a manufacturer standpoint. So it was cool to get, involved or network with all of those different people. I mean, it definitely helped me get exposure to networking in the water industry.
And what was your experience at ACE? I have a question here about do you need to present at ACE? What if I'm already scheduled to present my work? Do I have to do another for AWWA? What was really your responsibilities for ACE? How did that work out for you?
For me, I went to receive the scholarship, so I didn't necessarily have to present anything. And if you want to, they do have like poster presentations and whatnot, but you do have to apply for those. However, just receiving the scholarship, you don't have any really responsibilities. It's kind of a learning experience and just kind of getting yourself immersed into the water industry and how everything runs at ACE. And it was so amazing. And I would definitely recommend anyone who is interested in the water industry to go at least one time because it was such a great experience. But don't expect that like you have a lot of expectations. Just go and talk to people, mingle, talk to, go and meet people that you've met online, in person, and it's really nice.
Thanks so much. And you just created a student chapter at West Virginia University.
Yes. Yes, if you guys are interested in creating a student chapter at your college and do not have one, please let me know. I will be of any assistance possible. I think it is great to get young professionals into the water industry, as we've talked about. Like the water industry is aging, so we need to get as many young professionals involved as possible. And then if you don't have any other questions, I just had a few things I was going to add about the scholarship process.
Go ahead.
Okay. One thing I wanted to mention is that I applied for numerous, and so just like Nicole said, she gave you great advice. Definitely talk about your passions, talk about any really strong experience that you've had in the water industry. Even if it's small but helpful, I would still mention it. Um, and I definitely think that my application was stronger because I am super passionate about the water industry. On top of that, just like something that might also help is where I applied for multiple, I would put the questions in a Word document and I would fill them out there. And then if there was certain ones that were only for one scholarship, so like I know one of the HDR scholarships had like a particular question just referencing to HDR, like why do you want to apply for this scholarship? So then I took those and, also put them in this Word document, but separated them out. This helped me keep things, separated and organized, but also gave me like a way to see all of them. And I kept my answers. So this year, when I apply for others, like I can also reference what I kind of said in that application. So I would recommend doing that. And then also having your professor, mentor, whoever, look over your answers and see if they can help you, identify ways that like, because I know I'm very bad about um, not saying not saying as much as I should about myself. So having them help you kind of word those is really helpful as well.
That is a great tip. Great tip. Thank you, Kara. Appreciate it. One of the questions was, what's the percentage of people who are selected? And so last year we actually received about 700 applications, but only 400 of them were actually qualified. So we actually scrub through those to make sure that we have qualified candidates. And then the last 400 are then reviewed by our committee. And they usually take a couple of weeks to review them. And then, of course, and this year we're doing the references after that just to make it easier for everybody. So you typically will find out, we target the month of April to announce the awards. You will, if you don't receive an award, you get an email stating that you haven't been selected. If you have been selected, you'll get some kind of fun gift in the mail, either by email or actual mail. And then, you know, we mentioned ACE 23 is in Toronto. Many of the scholarship providers, the corporate sponsors, will fund that trip. But I want you to make sure you look at the dates for ACE and make sure that you have them, you know, on your calendar, because if you're selected, we do like for you to attend. It's very valuable. You heard that from both of last year's recipients. It's valuable in the sense that you get to meet the sponsor of your scholarship and kind of get into their circle, and perhaps get a mentor if that's what you'd like. It also is wonderful because you meet a lot of young professionals and your peers at ACE. There are a lot of great opportunities and of course some wonderful sessions to attend. So please put that on your calendar now. It's June 12th to the 17th, I believe. So put that on your calendar. We also do a virtual ceremony. So that each of you can speak. You know, when we go to the big ACE conference, you're just walking across the stage and receiving your recognition, as well as there's a scholarship breakfast and there's a lot of networking opportunities. But on the virtual scholarship ceremony, which will be held in May, you actually get to speak about your studies and talk about what kind of research you're doing. So that can be very impressive to your sponsor. And if you're looking for a job, it's the best place to be. So I hope that you all will put all these dates on your calendar as we send them out. And there's a lot of communications that happen. So I probably over communicate, but I'd rather over communicate than under communicate to you. Are there any more questions? Someone did ask.
I had a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so regarding the scholarship, let's say that you get the scholarship and the funds go to the university, right?
Right.
What if you have an appointment? So what if you're fully funded for, let's say, the fall semester? So what happens in this case? Will you get the money back from the university, or you don't get the money at all?
So typically the university will allow you to use those funds for lab supplies or technology. But I think it's a good idea to check with your university to make sure that they are willing to fund those types of purchases.
Okay, I'm asking because in the past I've received a scholarship from a different institution. It was like 5,000, for example. And because I had an appointment, so they just gave me the money back. So they transferred the money to my bank account because my tuition was waived for this semester.
Yeah, we will not send the money directly to you. As I mentioned, it's a tax implication and it's something AWWA does not do. So it will go to the university regardless. And then you can talk with the university. And I would do it in advance to say, hey, I'm already fully funded. If I get an additional scholarship, how can I use it? Will you give me the money? Will you credit the money to me? Will you allow me to buy a laptop and lab supplies, which is what I've really seen? You could attend conferences with that money. So there's a variety of ways that they'll let you use it, but I would definitely check with the university to see how they'll allow you to use that funding.
So you just send the money to the university and then it's up to the university.
Correct.
How the money will be, you know. Okay.
Correct.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So there's a question here from Clara. What fields or interests are considered part of the water industry? Is it just drinking and wastewater treatment or also hydrology? You know, great question, Clara. We have really expanded what the water community means. So it can mean, you know, you mentioned hydrology, of course, yes. drinking water, wastewater treatment, but also IT and legal and policy and communications. And, you know, there are a lot of jobs within the water community that people don't even think about. And you'll see some of the scholarships actually identify that. So as you're looking, for instance, Raftellus is really geared toward policy and communications. So we want to broaden that scope so that we're looking to pull a variety of people into the water community. And I think, anyone else have a question?
Yeah, Michelle, just to follow up on my question I just asked. So like I'm interested in sea level rise or flooding, that would be okay, just as long as it kind of, oh, got you. Okay. Okay.
That is great. Absolutely. I think I'm kind of going through all these and I think they've been answered, asked and answered. Some of the questions are 500 words or more. Correct. We want to make sure that you're giving a complete answer. So some of them are very short answers. Don't give us more than 250 words or make it a short answer. But some of them we want a little bit more depth. So 500 words or more is what we're requiring. We want everybody to kind of be on an even playing field. So let's say, Dave, you only wrote 300 words, but someone else did 500 words or more as requested, and it was much more in depth. You know, they're probably going to be looked at as a better candidate for the scholarship. So as both of our previous recipients mentioned, it's a great idea to do it on a Word document and really give it some thought before just getting in the application and trying to just, you know, write something off. How many words do you typically use for? How many is too many? So 500 words or more. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. 500 words or more. I wouldn't go 2,000 words. I certainly wouldn't put, you know, a several page paper in there, but stick with that 500 words or more. You know, 500 to 600 words is probably what we're looking for on that essay question. And again, great idea to do it in a Word document so that you can write it and proof it and make it really nice and clean before you pop it in. You know, gotta look at for spelling and grammar as well, because we're going to be looking for it. Okay. Anyone else? Right. Well, then I am going to send this back to Pooja. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Michelle, I just want to thank you so much, and David, you too, for taking time out today and talking about WE scholarships. I do want to say Water Equation and Michelle especially, she's a rock star. Thanks to her and Water Equation, they've sponsored so many young professional events at ACE, at YP Summit. So Michelle, thank you so much. So with that, are there any more questions for anybody? Michelle, David, Kara, or Nicole? All right, seems like Michelle and David have done, or the team has done a really good job with answering the questions. If there are no further questions, we do have, Mary, I'm going to defer to you because I can't remember. We do have our next webinar planned. I believe it's in November. But I can't remember what we did. But in the meantime, I'm going to talk a little bit about our previous webinar that we did that was chapter to chapter sharing. We had quite a few attendees from across the state, across the US attend. I think we had a couple come from Ontario, Canada as well. So if student chapter is something you're looking to join and you're not part of or interested in starting one like Kara did, feel free to reach out to Mary. She can absolutely help you attend, or I'm sorry, start a student chapter. And we can walk you through how to start a student chapter, how to plan a budget, how to get a student chapter committee together, how to reach out to a professor. We can definitely help you and guide you through that process. And lastly, about the webinar in November, we do have the Fresh Ideas posters. So this is another opportunity for you to, another opportunity for you to attend ACE and to further network. You'll get to learn how to apply for Fresh Ideas posters. You'll get to learn what the process is there, and you will get to hear firsthand from Fresh Idea poster winners on how that has helped them and what kind of topics they have covered. We will be taking a break in December, just because, holiday season. And we'll be back in January for a welcome back social. So that's another opportunity for you to meet with your fellow student members across the US and Canada. And we'll have some fun activities planned in the social as well. February, we have a project cycle. So once you get into the real world, how does a project get started until it ends, meaning like your proposal phase, your design phase, construction, and wrapping up that construction. So everyone's obviously welcome to join. If you do not see these invites from Mary, reach out to her. She can definitely add you to the list. Then we have a career workshop and committee speed networking. So we have an exciting year planned. I'm really hoping you guys can make it, or if there is something that you would like us to plan for you, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll definitely take it into consideration and modify this program for you. So this platform is more for you as students as opposed to me wanting to speak for an hour. So that's all I have. Mary, is there anything that you want to add?
Yeah. I wanted to let everyone know. So the invites have not yet gone out for the November event, but those invites will be going out next week. And I had another point I was going to let you know, and I just completely gotten it. So invites to come. And if you guys have any questions about student chapters or any of your student member benefits, please feel free to email me. I'm here to help you. I'm here to answer your questions. And I'll put my email address in the chat here one more time for you.
Yeah, and I believe these events are, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to also add in that calendar, the last time when we did a chapter to chapter, it was asked of us to include another chapter to chapter because that last one came out to be pretty useful. So we're going to add that one more to that calendar.
Yes. And Mary, remind me, these are mostly available, like we have these webinars for student members and student chapters, correct?
Yes. So some of them are more specific to student chapters, like the chapter to chapter. So some events are more specific to the student chapters and all the members within that chapter. And then other events such as like this, we open it up to all students.
Okay. Awesome. So if you've had if this was informational, I hope it was good and helpful. It was definitely good for sure. But yeah, I think that's all I have. With that, I will give your 5 minutes back of the hour. And again, thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Michelle, David, Kara, Nicole, for your time.
Thank you, Pooja.